What if your freedom had absolutely nothing to do with where you are, but everything to do with how you think? We like to believe we are free, yet we constantly let our environment dictate our moods, our stress levels, and our reactions. Even in the darkest moments of human history, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl discovered a hidden space between what happens to you and how you react to it. This invisible gap is what he called the last of the human liberties, the absolute power to choose your own attitude in any given set of circumstances. Look at the mental health crisis unfolding right now, where digital overstimulation leaves us feeling completely drained. We have become reactive puppets, having our emotional strings pulled by every breaking news headline, email ping, and social media notification. Instead of living intentionally, we are just surviving in a state of constant, exhausting reaction to a world that never logs off. We have surrendered our peace of mind to algorithms designed to make us anxious and deeply engaged in things that simply do not matter. But there is a narrow, quiet space between the trigger that hits you and the reaction you give back. That tiny void is the only territory where your true human sovereignty actually exists, waiting for you to claim it. When you pause before firing off an angry text or spiraling over a bad day at work, you take back your power. Mastering that specific fraction of a second is the difference between being a victim of your circumstances and being the master of your own mind. This directly challenges the modern narrative that tells us our trauma and external hardships completely define who we are. Frankl observed firsthand that while external forces can absolutely break your body, they can never touch your internal posture unless you let them. It is so easy to fall into the trap of blaming the economy, your boss, or your upbringing for your unhappiness. But realizing that nobody can force you to think a certain way is incredibly liberating, even if it is a tough pill to swallow. So, what is left of your identity when social status, wealth, and physical comforts are suddenly stripped away by modern economic volatility? We build our entire lives around job titles and bank balances, but unexpected layoffs and market crashes can wipe those out overnight. When those external markers disappear, you are forced to confront the actual psychological foundation you have built underneath it all. A resilient core isn't about having a backup plan for your finances. It is about knowing who you are when you have absolutely nothing left to show off. Viktor Frankl didn't learn this in a cozy university. He learned it while surviving the unimaginable horrors of Nazi concentration camps. His experience serves as the ultimate extreme blueprint for navigating the unavoidable tragedies and unpredictable nature of our global landscape today. If a man can find a reason to keep breathing while stripped of his family and basic humanity, we can certainly survive modern chaos. His survival proves that while fate might dictate our external suffering, we alone govern the dignity with which we endure it. Moving from simply enduring pain to actively constructing personal meaning acts as a psychological bulletproof vest against despair. You cannot just wait around for the universe to suddenly make sense of your struggles or hand you a purpose on a silver platter. You have to aggressively build that meaning yourself out of the raw materials of your daily frustrations and challenges. This active construction is the protective barrier that keeps the overwhelming negativity of the modern world from crushing your spirit completely. To be clear, choosing your attitude is absolutely not about slapping a fake smile on your face and practicing toxic positivity. It is a gritty, stubborn act of defiance against a chaotic world that is constantly trying to break you down. You are allowed to acknowledge that a situation is terrible, painful, and deeply unfair without letting it turn you into a bitter person. It is about looking straight into the darkness and boldly deciding that it will not have the final say over your character. There is a profound dignity in suffering when you refuse to let those external circumstances dictate the quality of your soul. Think about a time when everything went wrong, yet you managed to keep your composure
and treat others with kindness anyway. That quiet strength is the ultimate flex in a society that encourages us to lash out and play the victim whenever we are inconvenienced. You reclaim your humanity the moment you decide your core values are stronger than your current pain.
To achieve this, you need a radical shift in focus, away from constantly asking what you expect to get out of life. Instead, you need to start asking yourself what life is actively expecting from you right here in this specific moment of history. Are you being called to be a stabilizing force for your family, an innovator in a broken industry, or simply a decent human being today? When you stop demanding that the universe cater to you, you finally see the unique responsibilities you are perfectly positioned to handle. Frankl identified 3 primary sources of meaning: your work, your love for others, and your courage in the face of suffering. This framework is crucial right now, especially as we face a post-AI workforce where artificial intelligence threatens to make traditional jobs obsolete. When a machine can do your job faster and better, your core value has to come from your human connections and your resilience. Your ability to love deeply and endure gracefully are the only true skills an algorithm can never replicate or replace. This is why the will to meaning is a vastly more powerful survival tool than the endless modern pursuit of happiness or power. Chasing happiness usually just leaves us feeling empty because emotions are fleeting and power can be taken away by a shift in the market. But the drive to find deep personal significance in your actions provides an anchor that holds firm even during the worst storms. When you are fueled by a strong sense of purpose, temporary setbacks and unique modern stressors simply cannot destroy you. As the famous quote goes, "He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how the world throws at him." If you know exactly why you are working those grueling hours or fighting through that difficult illness, the physical pain becomes manageable. It is the lack of meaning, not the presence of pain, that truly breaks the human spirit and drives us to simply give up. Defining your personal why is the most urgent, practical project you can undertake to protect your future and your sanity. So, how do you execute this internal revolution in a daily environment filled with high-pressure demands and constant stress? It starts with actionable steps. Take a deep breath before you reply to that hostile email, and physically step away from your screen when anxiety peaks. You have to consciously practice widening that vital gap between the stimulus of a stressful event and your automatic knee-jerk reaction. By mastering this pause, you stop being a helpless passenger of fate and step up to the steering wheel of your own mind. Ultimately, you have to accept that you cannot control the world's tragedies, the economy, or how other people choose to behave. However, you possess the absolute, untouchable power to decide exactly who you become because of those challenges. The last human freedom is the profound realization that your mind is your own, and no one can force you to surrender your inner peace. Embrace that power. Find your meaning in the darkest of hours and build a life that no amount of chaos can ever tear down.